Hey everybody, here's a question. Do story arcs in the center piece of these story arcs, say it's a character in a situation, it's a global, universal, changing event, do sometimes in these story arcs, do these kind of things that are the center of them, do they get downplayed too much? Well, do they? It may seem like that, according to many fans. Sometimes, you'll build up to something, and if you're the writer or the producer or the publisher or the editor or whatever you want to call yourself, you may think when you tell fans, oh, by the way, this big event's coming, it's going to be so and so many issues and blah blah blah, and it's going to expand into maybe some spin-off into other issues of comics, blah blah blah. So here's a question. Do sometimes when this happens, do the story arcs, and if not, like I say, the centerpieces of them start to get downplayed, start to become meaningless? Well, to some out there, they may become meaningless. I mean, when you think about it, when you build up to something or you're focusing on something or someone as the focal point, or at least one of the focal points of your story arc, sometimes it could either be embraced and looked forward to for every issue to come, or it can start to get downplayed and start to become meaningless because it's just the same thing over and over again. Currently right now I'm having a I am conversation with with double X Miko double X. And they have said that the reason they feel this whole situation, whether it's saying with Sally in her mechanized form in the Sonic comics, the reason it's becoming meaningless is because Ian Flynn, not even from the beginning, gave any reason as to why she was ending up like this, why she was chosen out of all the characters he could have used, why she was chosen to be roboticized. I mean, according to Miko, from what he understands, Ian, in his mind, and maybe I'm wrong, uh, basically said the reason this happened to Sally is because fans that I guess were against the character or something were asking for her to be downplayed a bit so that Sonic can interact with the other characters. But all that's happened in his mind, in their mind, is, well, Ian did prove them right, but also kind of ruined things the way they were. He proved them right, but he didn't give any specific reason as to why she was being downplayed. Exactly why the fans why he was doing this. And I'm sure, Ian Flynn, you can't, center the guy out and point the guy out. He's being the only person like this. There's a lot of comic book writers, I'm pretty sure, whether they're at Archie Comics, Marvel Comics, DC, Top Cow, Image, some independents out there. I'm sure they've all had fans say the same thing about them in some of their story arcs. Like, what was the meaning of the story arc? Or why did you do this? Why did you do that? Why is this focal point of your story arc becoming meaningless? You know, this and that. Basically having the same kind of questions and wanting to know why kind of deal. But, but, do they have a right to say, but do fans like Miko have a right to say this kind of stuff? Well, of course they do. But are they right in the fact that someone like, say, an Ian Flynn or someone at Marvel or DC or Image, you know, are they correct in saying that this person should at least come out and say, okay, this is why I did it. This is why I turned this so-and-so character into this. Or this is why I'm changing things around because of this. Basically give an explanation as to why you did it. Don't just say, I'm doing it for shock value. Oh, and to prove that nobody's safe. I mean, come on, honestly. You need more than that. You need to get, I mean, fans are smart enough. They're called smarks, if you will. Smarks, if you will. And they're smart enough to know there's more to this than meets there's more to it, to something like that, than just, oh, I want shock value and prove no one is safe and blah, blah, blah. They want more. So the question is, when you don't give them a specific answer, it doesn't matter who you are, it doesn't matter what comic book or what comic book company you work for, does it make your story arc and your focal point of your story arc meaningless? You know, to me, I can understand that a lot of fans feel as though, Ian Flynn is dragging this out a lot longer than should. I can understand fans when they say, Ian Flynn should at least made it for about 6 issues and that's it. I get that. But you see, to me, Ian Flynn, in his own mind, with all due respect, is trying to not make this meaningless. He's trying to make this as eventful and memorable as he could. And you also got to probably realize, if you look at it from a business standpoint, Ian Flynn and Archie Comics, they're competing with the big boys, DC and Marvel. And right now, one of Marvel's biggest story arcs going is a crossover between Avengers and X-Men. And right now, the X-Men, according to what I understand, in the latest issue, have the Phoenix powers. So you don't think Ian Flynn doesn't want to compete with that? Archie Comics doesn't want to try to compete and beat that? Of course they do. And if they have to use a story arc, and a focal point of that story arc, that in some fans' eyes, like say Miko, is becoming meaningless, then so be it. For me, it's like I told Miko, I'm kind of like in the middle right now. I'm kind of like, hey, I don't find anything really bad about it because, one, I haven't read the issues yet, even though I have them. And I'm waiting for this whole thing to come to a climax before I do review, like I've been planning, like I've been saying for the past 8 months. But the thing is, you know, I can I can understand where fans are coming from because they dealt with a long story arc beforehand in the Iron Dominion deal, and now they're dealing with another. And then right after that, you got to jump into a summer event, obviously, which is going to be 12 issues long, 4 issues of the main comic, 4 issues of the spin-off, and 4 issues of another comic. In their crossover, you got to jump into that. So honestly, fans, I can understand the frustration. I can understand how Miko feels about certain things. And it's okay. It's fine. And again, for someone like me, I'm waiting until everything's settled down to make judgment. I mean, I probably will say something, as I mentioned in my other video, if Ian does decide to hold off on it, let the 4 issues of the main comic from 250 to 253, introduce us to the crossover between Sonic and Mega Man, and then continue on. Perhaps I will say something then if that's the case, but I'm not really sure. And I'm not saying that will happen. But what I'm saying is I think, in all honesty, you know, I will agree. Head comic book writers, if they do something like what's going on in the Sonic comic right now, with a certain character like say Sally, they should at least give an explanation to the fans as to why they're doing it. Not just say I wanted to do shock value and I wanted to prove that nobody's safe. Tell the fans exactly why, because they're smarter than they look. But again, my question to you is it becoming meaningless? Is the current Sonic story arc becoming meaningless? Let me know down below. Tell me what you guys think. I'll talk to you all later.